we're going to engage in a little interpreting practice. And in common with all our various exercises, this is from English, and it is consecutive interpreting. To give you a little idea of the context, this is from our English law syllabus and is an exercise dealing with police community support officers, also known as PCSOs. And the way this exercise works is that I will say a sentence or two, and then in the classroom I would stop at that point and the trainees, the students, would interpret into their own languages. For the purposes of this short film, I will stop at the end of each little section very briefly, and that will allow you to pause the film and to then interpret. And then if you just recommence, you will get the next section. So let's see how it goes, and you are interpreting from English into your own language. This is the beginning of the exercise. Good morning, everybody. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Chief Inspector Nick Crook, and I work for Hertfordshire Constabulary. I've come here this morning to talk about the role of the Police Community Support Officer, the PCSO, and to announce a new initiative to recruit more PCSOs from among our local communities. But first, I'd like to ask you a few questions. How would you deal with a group of binge drinkers shouting in the street? What would you do to win the trust of housing estate residents scared to give evidence about a violent assault? How would you handle kids cycling recklessly inside a shopping centre? What would you do to rebuild the confidence of an elderly couple who had been burgled? Don't worry if you're not quite sure of the answers. Very few of us would be able to offer an effective response until we had been in such a situation. However, a PCSO will be required to deal with situations like those on a regular basis. It's certainly true to say that police community support officers are not always accorded an appropriate level of respect. Some call them glorified traffic wardens. Others refer to policing on the cheap. I've heard teenagers yell at my colleagues, "Here come the toy policeman." That really is an impression that we need to dispel. The fact is that PCSOs are an integral part of a modern police force and vital in the fight against crime and in the creation of safer communities. As a PCSO, you will deal with truants. You will deal with graffiti, abandoned vehicles, litter, anti-social behaviour, missing persons inquiries, and perhaps even controlling crowds at major events. All in all, a pretty important role, I'm sure you'll agree. A PCSO does not have the full range of powers granted to a police constable. For instance, they do not have the power of arrest and are not permitted to interview or process prisoners or investigate crimes. However, they can detain someone until a constable arrives and can direct traffic and remove vehicles and can issue fixed penalty notices for various types of antisocial behaviour. They may also be required to guard crime scenes or conduct house-to-house inquiries. So that's the end of our interpreting exercise. I hope you did it quite well. I'm sure you did.